Today I'm going to be talking to you about Aristotle. He was a Greek philosopher born in 384 BCE in a small Greece town named Stagria. His father, Nicodemus, was the king of Macedonia, but later died in 370. At the age of 17, Aristotle had to go to Plato's academy and get his degrees and studies because he was really smart as a kid. Plato later on died, forcing Aristotle in the direction of Assos. There he lived with Hermes. They both studied marine biology for 3 years, and then Hermes died. After that death, Aristotle decided to move to Lesbos, a small island. There he spent 2 years doing physiological and empirical research with a native of the island, Theopratus. Soon after, he fell in love with Hermes' niece, Pythias, and they got married. In 434, King Philip II of Macedon asked Aristotle to move to Pella and tutor the king's sons for 2 to 3 years, Alexander, which soon to be known as Alexander the Great. Little is known about Aristotle's life between 341 and 335. They think he either lived in Stagria or Macedon for 5 years. He soon then moved to Athens in 335, where he set up a school dedicated to the Greek god Apollo Lykios, hence the name Lyceum. There in Lyceum is where they say the first great library of antiquity was developed. During this time in Athens, his wife Pythias died, and he developed a relationship with Hercules. Many say she was merely his slave, but they had one son together, Nicodemus, named after Apollo's father. After 13 years of teaching, he retired and then moved to Chalix, a small island off the Attic coast. In 323, a year later, in 322, Aristotle died of natural causes. Like most people, after Aristotle died, he became famous after the death. The biggest thing he was known for was his research and how he documented things. He wasn't much of a scientist, for he advocates science through reason rather than observation, which, along with Plato and Socrates, he's one of the most important Western philosophers, and he studied many things ranging from zoology and meteorology. In zoology, he determined that whales and dolphins were not like any other fish, they were mammals. And he distinguished them between two groups, no blood groups and blood groups, which we know as mammals and marsupials. And there's many other things he discovered in zoology, but that would take me at least 3 to 5 days to explain all of that. And then in meteorology, which is the study of weather, he said all the affections of its parts we may call common to air and water, and the kinds and parts of each, and the affections of its parts, thus referring to the sun moving around the earth and water, becoming evaporated, and when cold enough in the sky, rain would come down. He studied a variety of things, but I don't want to keep you here all day. Now that you've learned a preview of what most of his life was about and some of the great things he studied and did, I hope you can now answer the question, who is Aristotle? If someone ever does ask you, and you'll be able to say a few things he accomplished throughout his life. Aristotle was more than just another dead Greek philosopher. He was an absolute genius. In this picture, we have one of his greatest quotes, which are, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." Here is a picture of him where he is sculpted, and I think that's somewhere in Greece. Here is like a Rubik's Cube type thing about the elements, which is fire, earth, water, and air, and then like how they all fuse together. And this is just a comic about logic, since he was really big on discovering logic and what it was.